I was about 4 hours into a 6-hour drive when I realized I needed to stop. Not just for gas, but because I was falling asleep at the wheel. My eyes kept drifting shut for half a second at a time. The thing where you blink and suddenly you're 50 feet further down the road than you thought you were. You know? I turned up the music and I rolled down the window, but the cold air only helped for a few minutes. I needed caffeine. The highway was empty. I hadn't seen another car in at least 20 minutes. When I saw the glow of a gas station sign up ahead, I felt relief. It was one of those old independent places, not a chain. The kind that looks like it hadn't been updated since the 80s. A single building with 2 pumps out front and a hand-painted sign that said, "Last stop for 70 miles." I pulled in and parked at the pump. The lot was empty except for a beat-up truck parked around the side of the building. Figured it belonged to whoever was working the night shift. I got out, I stretched my legs, and I filled my tank, paid at the pump, and I headed inside. I should have just gotten back in my car and left, but I needed that coffee, and I needed to use the bathroom, so I walked inside. The store was small, a few aisles of snacks and car supplies, a coffee station in the back corner with those glass pots that had probably been sitting on the burner for hours, a cooler full of sodas and energy drinks along the back wall. The lights were that harsh fluorescent kind that made everything look slightly off. The attendant was behind the counter. He was maybe 50, with thinning gray hair and a face that looked like it hadn't slept in days. He had the TV on, some late-night infomercial with the sound turned low. He looked up when I walked in, and something in his expression changed, just for a second, like he was surprised to see me, or worried. "Evening," he said. "Hey, just grabbing a coffee." I walked to the back and poured myself a cup. It was burnt and bitter, but I didn't care. I just needed the caffeine to get me through the next 2 hours. I grabbed the candy bar, too, and brought everything to the counter. The attendant rang me up slowly, kept glancing past me towards the windows toward my car. "Driving alone?" he asked. "Yeah. Long trip. A few more hours." He nodded, but didn't say anything else. He was staring at the window again. I turned to look, but there was nothing out there, just my car at the pump. Empty highway beyond. "Something wrong?" I asked. He looked at me for a long moment, then he slid a piece of paper across the counter. A napkin. He had written on it with a pen. "You're being followed. Don't go back to your car." I stared at the napkin, then I looked back at him. His face was completely serious. "What are you talking about?" He held up a hand. "Keep your voice low and look at the monitor." He pointed to a small security screen mounted on the wall behind the counter. It showed a black and white feed of the parking lot. My car was there, and someone was standing next to it. My stomach dropped. The figure was on the passenger side, just standing there, facing the store. I couldn't make out any features. They were wearing black clothes. Their face was in shadow. I spun around and looked out the window. There was no one there, just my car, empty lot. Nothing. I looked back at the monitor. The figure was still there, standing in the same spot. "What the hell?" I whispered. "Doesn't show up when you look directly," the attendant said. "Only on cameras. I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but I know what happens to people when you go out there and when it's waiting for them." My heart was pounding. I looked out the window again. Nothing. Back at the monitor. The figure had moved. It was closer to the front of my car now, still facing the store. "This is insane," I said. "This has to be some kind of trick." "I wish it was." He reached under the counter and pulled out a folder. Insides were printed news articles, missing persons report, headlines about bodies found on the highway. 4 people in the last 8 months, he said. "All of them stopped here late at night. All of them went back to their cars. Even after I warned them, they found them a few miles down the road. Cars stopped in the middle of the highway, engines still running, drivers still in their seats. Eyes open. No marks on them. Coroner said their hearts Just stop. I felt dizzy. This couldn't be real. I looked at the articles. Photos of victims, young woman, a middle-aged man, a couple in their 30s. Real people, real deaths. Why haven't the police done anything? I asked. Done what? There's nothing to investigate. No signs of foul play, no witnesses, just people dying on a lonely stretch of road. Happens all the time. They chalk it up to fatigue or medical emergencies. I looked at the monitor again. The figure was even closer now, standing right in front of my car. How long does it stay? I asked. Till sunrise, usually, sometimes longer. If you stay inside, you're safe. Can't come in here. Why not? He shrugged. I don't know. Stopped asking questions like a month ago. Just know the rules. Stay inside when it's dark. Don't go out to the lot and wait for daylight. I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell him he was crazy. But I couldn't explain the figure on the monitor. I couldn't explain why it wasn't there when I looked with my own eyes. Okay, I said. Oh, wait. He looked relieved. Good. Smart. You can sit in the back if you want. There's a couch. Got some magazines. It's only about 4 hours till sunrise. He walked to the front door and locked it. The click of the deadbolt was loud in the quiet store. Just in case, he said. Sometimes people panic and try to run. This way you won't do anything stupid. Something about the way he said it made me uncomfortable. But I told myself that he was just being cautious. He was trying to help. I sat down on a stool near the counter. The attendant went back to watching his infomercial. Every few minutes, I'd look at the monitor, and the figure was always there, sometimes in a different position, sometimes closer to the building, but always there. After about an hour, I asked if I could use the bathroom. He pointed to a door near the back of the store. Right through there. And I got up and walked towards it. As I passed the counter, I glanced at the security monitor again. Something was different. It took me a second to realize what it was. The timestamp. The footage showed 11:47 p.m., but it was after 3 a.m. now. I checked my phone when I came back inside. It was definitely past 2. I stopped walking. I looked at the monitor more carefully. The footage wasn't live. It was a loop. The same few minutes playing over and over. My blood went cold. I looked out the window of my car. I really looked this time. There was no one out there. There had never been anyone out there. I kept my voice calm. Hey, what time does the camera say? He didn't answer for a second, and when I turned around, he was standing right behind me. You should use the bathroom, he said. His voice was different now, flatter. You've been holding it for a while. The timestamp's wrong, I said. That footage is old. His expression didn't change. He just stared at me with those tired eyes. You saw the article, he said. You saw what happens to people on this highway. This could be from anywhere. Anyone could print those. He took a step towards me. I took a step back. You should stay, he said. It's not safe out there. I looked at the door. Locked. The deadbolt needed a key from this side. Where's the key? I asked. I can't let you leave, not until morning, for your own safety. I backed up further. My hand found the door handle to the back room. I pushed it open and stepped through. It wasn't a break room. It was a storage room. Dim light from a single bulb. Shelves lined the walls, and on the shelves were boxes, dozens of them, each one labeled with a date. I opened the nearest one. Inside was a wallet, a phone with a cracked screen, a set of car keys, a driver's license, the photo showing a young woman, blonde hair, smiling. I recognized her from the articles. I opened another box, different items, different license. Middle-aged man. He hadn't been warning these people, he'd been taking them. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around and he was standing in the doorway, blocking the exit. "You always figure it out," he said, "but by then it's too late. No cell signal out here, nearest town's 40 miles. No one to hear you scream." He was holding something. A length of cord. I backed into the shelves, my hand closed around something heavy, a wrench, old and rusted but solid. "You don't want to do this," he said. "It'll be easier if you just cooperate." He stepped forward and I swung. The wrench connected with the side of his head. He staggered sideways and hit the wall. I didn't wait to see if he went down. I ran past him through the doorway into the main store. The front doors were still locked. I grabbed the stool from the counter and swung it at the glass window. It cracked but didn't break. I swung it again and again. I could hear him behind me, getting up and cursing. The third swing went through. I knocked out the remaining glass with a stool and climbed through the window frame. Shards cut my arms and legs, but I didn't care. I dropped onto the pavement outside and ran for my car. My keys were still in my pocket, phone still in the cup holder where I left it. I got in, so I started the engine, and in the rearview mirror, I saw him stumbling through the broken window. I floored it. I drove for an hour without stopping. When I finally pulled over at a rest stop, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. Sitting in my car now, doors locked, engine running. I called 911. They're sending someone to the gas station. Told me to stay where I am and wait for an officer to come take my statement. I keep checking my mirrors. I keep expecting to see headlights behind me. The sun's coming up now. I can see the sky turning gray on the horizon. I should feel relieved, but I don't. Because when I climbed through the window, when I ran to my car and I looked back at the store, I saw that security monitor through the broken glass. The figure was still on the screen. It was standing in the lot, but it wasn't by my car anymore. It was standing exactly where I had been standing when I broke the window. I don't know what he had playing on that monitor, but I don't know if it was really a loop or something else entirely. I don't know if he made it all up to scare people into staying, or if there was some truth buried under the lies. All I know is that I'm never driving this highway again. And if you ever see a gas station sign that says, "Last stop for 70 miles, just keep driving." Whatever's waiting there, you don't want to find out. Hey, did you like that creepypasta story that you heard today? I bet you did, because you stuck around to hear the outro. So, if you want to find more creepypasta stories like this, check out the links in the description down below that lead you over to the Creepypasta Collection, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 and Volume 2 also have a bunch of stories from some of the best authors I've worked with in the past 15 years, which I think is pretty high praise, seeing as it's like, what, 4,000 stories? That's right, 4,000 stories. Subscribe, you'll see them. But yes, 2 books available, Amazon, link down below, check them out. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to everybody on this list of Patreons. Some of these amazing folks are Diana Kraus, AcidSystem, Blake Rattler, Brandon Mendoza, Brenna Crow, Caltuna, ChicagoHitman, CoryxKenshin, CrusaderChocobo, Dakota Best, Daniel Poulsen, Dante Kinkade, Enchanted Buns, Estebean, Hades' Nephew, himbojerry, Our Minute Seconds Time, Ingegerd Solstrom, Jay Kearns, Jadis Pet, McMog, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Psychomel, Plant Piz, Red Shadow Cat, Remember the Sun, Salty Surprise, Samara Lynn, Seclude, Simba's Bloody Mojo, Sky Harbor, Smiley the Psychotic, Sully Man, Tully Sue, Team Leo 76, The Demented Voice in Your Head, The Chavez Brothers, The Ginger Bros, Tommy Walters, Viceroy Scorn, William Wellington, Your Bro Keegan, Zabub, and Shadow Gardens. A huge thank you to you guys, everybody who shows up in the description down below, and as always, folks, sweet dreams.